Healthcare professionals around the world rely on the Avanta Fluid Management Injection System to help them deliver the highest quality patient care. Avanta is designed to be flexible enough to meet virtually all contrast injection needs. Variable flow rate injections are appropriate for imaging coronary and smaller vessels, while fixed flow rates are appropriate for larger vessels and peripherals. Avanta also provides saline flushing capabilities. This presentation demonstrates proper setup, programming, injecting, and refilling of the Avanta Fluid Management Injection System. It is intended as a supplement to the operations manual. For specific questions, please contact your MedRad interventional representative. The configuration of the Avanta Fluid Management Injection System provides efficiency, precision, safety, and reduced costs. The system includes a power supply, display control unit, fluid control module, and injector head. Mounting options include the standard pedestal mount, which can be easily converted into a table mount option when utilizing the table brackets. The display control unit and the fluid control module can be integrated into the table mount or mounted separately. The power supply houses the electronics of the system, including the master power switch and the imaging system interface connection. The display control unit, or DCU, is a touchscreen used to perform most functions, including programming, storing, and recalling of protocols. The Fluid Control Module, or FCM, contains several innovative features with safety and precision in mind. Fluid level sensors detect the absence of fluid in both the contrast and saline drip chambers. Lighting behind the drip chambers flashes when there is insufficient fluid. This safety feature helps minimize air entering the system by alerting the operator. The peristaltic pump delivers saline for flushing during imaging procedures. Gross air detection is an important safety feature that senses the presence of gross air in both the contrast and saline multi-patient disposables. The contrast flow control valve, or CFCV, automates filling the syringe, injecting contrast media, and closing the contrast fluid path. The fluid control module houses the connections for the hand controller and optional accessories, such as the foot switch, bottle and syringe heat maintainer. The injector head has a pressure jacket that accommodates a 150 milliliter front-load syringe. When the injector is on and a syringe is inserted, the syringe sensor detects the presence of a syringe, supplying supplemental syringe backlighting, which assists with viewing the contents in the syringe. Disposables for the Avanta Fluid Management Injection System utilize both multi-patient and single-patient disposable sets. All packaging indicates the lot number, shelf life, catalog number, expiration date, and intended use of the disposable set. All Avanta disposables are latex-free and DEHP-free. Multi-patient disposables, or MPAT, can be used for up to 5 patients. The MPAT disposable set for the contrast component includes the vented contrast spike, low-pressure contrast tube, drip chamber, contrast flow control stopcock, high-pressure contrast tube with male lure connector, and a 150 milliliter multi-patient syringe. The saline MPAT consists of a saline spike, drip chamber, high-pressure check valve, and low-pressure saline tube with female lure connector. The hand controller is used to deliver both contrast and saline. It is intended for single-patient use, or up to 5 patients when used with a sterile sheath. It is designed to emulate the feeling of injecting through a handheld syringe, yet reduces the stress typically induced on the palm of the hand. An optional foot switch is available for fixed flow mode injections. The injection is initiated when the foot switch is depressed and stops when the foot switch is released. The single-patient disposable, referred to as SPAT, consists of a dual line and is attached to the patient as one element. The SPAT dual line includes a high-pressure saline tube with male lure connector, and a high-pressure contrast tube with a female Luer connector for easier connection to the MPAT disposable. The SPAT is available in 3 configurations: Enhanced, Long, and Angio. Enhanced and Long SPATs contain an automated pressure isolation valve assembly, or PIV, which protects the attachable transducer and aids in hemodynamic pressure monitoring for instantaneous waveform transmission. The Angio SPAT does not contain a hemodynamic port and is used when a procedure does not require a transducer. The waste port stopcock can be used either as a waste port or for medication delivery. The rotating Luer aids in catheter connection and manipulation. Accessory single-use disposables include the sterile sheaths for the DCU and the hand controller. The DCU sheath covers the entire display control unit. The hand controller sheath fits over and around the hand controller and cable assembly and is attached to the FCM. Note that the hand controller can be used as a multi-patient or a single-use disposable. When employed as a multi-patient disposable, it can be used for up to 5 patients with a single-patient sterile sheath. To power on the Avanta fluid management injection system, first press the master power switch located on the power supply. Next, press the DCU power switch. The system will run a self-diagnostic check. A safety screen with information about current software version and safe operation appears on the DCU. If the safety screen indicates a system error, verify that a patient is not connected, record the code, and contact MedRad service. To adjust the screen brightness, press the controls located on the back side of the DCU. The user may calibrate the touch screen when the safety screen appears. Press both brightness keys simultaneously, then follow the on-screen instructions. Touch Continue to advance to the main screen, which is used for disposable setup, programming, arming, and injecting. Any gold or green highlighted buttons displayed on the touch screen are action buttons. Simply touch the screen for programming. To perform the initial setup of the Avanta fluid management system, simply touch End to confirm that the last case has ended, then touch New to begin a new case. Note that the protocol screen indicates how many cases have been performed. After the 5th case, the multi-patient disposables must be changed. To install a syringe, touch Setup on the protocol screen. A setup wizard will walk you through the steps. Touch Multi-Patient Syringe. Then touch Step 1, Retract Piston. During Step 2, orient the syringe to fit the keyed housing of the pressure jacket. Then insert the syringe. Perform Step 3 by closing the drop front arm. Proper placement of the syringe is indicated by an audible click and the backlight illumination of the syringe. Note that you can close the drop front arm when the injector head is either in the up or down position. The fluid dots aid in confirming the presence of fluid in the syringe. When the dots appear round, the syringe is fluid-filled. When the dots appear oval, the syringe is empty or air-filled. Backlighting is provided for easy viewing. At this point, it is very important to confirm that the patient is not connected. Touch Step 4, Engage Plunger. The system moves the piston to engage the plunger and pushes the plunger to the end of the syringe. To install a multi-patient disposable set, confirm that the syringe is in place and the plunger is at the end of the syringe. On the case setup screen, touch Multi-Patient Disposables. The DCU displays a graphic representation of the flow control module, contrast and saline containers, injector head, and multi-patient disposables. Note, the blue graphic represents saline, the green represents contrast. Touch Step 1, Install Saline Tubing. Note the graphic representation of the flow control module and the list of numbered actions for saline tubing setup. The arrow located at the bottom of the list indicates that there are additional steps displayed on sequential screens. Perform the listed actions. Step 1. Install the drip chamber. Push the top in first, then the bottom. Step 2. Open the peristaltic pump door. Route the tubing through the pump. To minimize pinching, make sure the tubing is seated in the notches, then close the pump door. Step 3. Route the tubing around the peg. Step 4. Insert the tubing connector into the gross air detector. Make sure that the wings on the tubing connector are flat against the air detector, then close the door. Touch the down arrow to view remaining steps. Step 5. Spike the saline bag. Step 6. Fill drip chamber completely. To speed the process, hold the saline bag in one hand and the drip chamber in the other, and alternately squeeze the bag and the drip chamber. When the drip chamber is full, touch Complete. A graphic representation of installed disposables is displayed. Next, touch Step 2, Install contrast tubing. Note the graphic representation of the flow control module and the contrast tubing setup with a list of numbered actions below. Perform the following contrast tubing setup instructions. Step 1. Install the contrast drip chamber. Step 2. Connect the tubing to the syringe. Step 3. Install the stopcock into the contrast flow control valve. Press the middle of the stopcock to ensure that it is properly locked into the CFCV. Step 4. Insert the tubing connector into the gross air detector and close the door. Next, touch the down arrow to view the remaining steps. Step 5. Spike the contrast, ensuring that the contrast air vent is open. Step 6. Fill the contrast drip chamber completely. Then touch Complete. Next, complete Step 3 and confirm that the injector head is in the upright position. Before proceeding with Step 4, verify that the multi-patient disposable set is installed, the syringe is engaged, and the contrast tubing is free of kinks. If so, touch Fill Syringe. Enter the desired amount of contrast, then touch Fill. A graphic representation of the syringe filling is displayed along with the volume. Remove and save the sterile dust caps from the contrast and saline multi-guard connectors. Keep in mind that anything covered by an orange cap is sterile and needs to remain sterile. Perform Step 5 by touching Purge. A graphic representation of available options is displayed on the screen. Both contrast and saline fluid paths will be purged simultaneously by touching the Purge button. Catch the purged fluid in a container while tapping the syringe and tubing connection to help release trapped air. Touch Stop when all visible air has been removed. If necessary, repeat these steps until all air is purged, then touch Complete to exit the screen. Touch the down arrow. Finally, either replace the saved sterile dust caps on the contrast and saline multi-guard connectors, or use caps from a new package. If you are using syringe and bottle heat maintainers, attach them to the syringe and contrast bottle. Perform Step 6 by rotating the injector head to the down position. Step 7. Install the hand controller on the bottom of the flow control module. The connection works just like a standard telephone jack. Just listen for the click. Hand controller installation must occur within a sterile field to prevent contamination. When a hand controller sterile sheath is used, the hand controller may be used for a total of 5 cases before being discarded. The sterile sheath must be replaced after each use, and the hand controller must be discarded after the 5th case. To install a single patient disposable set, verify that the multi-patient disposable set is installed. all air has been expelled from the syringe and fluid path, and the system is ready to accept the single patient disposable set. If SPAT installation is being performed by a single operator, the DCU must be covered with a sterile sheath. All steps in connecting and purging the SPAT will need to be completed in a sterile field to maintain sterility of the disposable. Select Single Patient Disposables on the DCU. The purge process of single-patient disposables AVA500 SPAT-E and AVA500 SPAT-L, which are intended for use with an attachable pressure transducer, differs from the setup of AVA500 SPAT-Angio, which is used without a pressure transducer. To connect any of the SPAT versions to the MPAT, perform the following steps. Remove and discard dust caps from MPAT and SPAT. Connect the SPAT saline tube to the MPAT saline tube. For easier connection, slightly turn the saline lure connector counterclockwise before engaging the connector threads. Next, connect the SPAT contrast tube to the MPAT contrast tube. Then select the down arrow on the touchscreen. With AVA500 SPAT-E and L, continue by attaching the transducer directly to the PIV hemodynamic port via the lure connector. Verify the transducer stopcock is open and the waste port stopcock is closed to the waste port. Connect the transducer cable to the hemodynamic monitor. Next, attach a 10 cc saline syringe to the transducer port. Hold the SPAT parallel to the patient with the PIV and 10 cc syringe pointing upward at a 45-degree angle. Then, forcefully flush saline through the transducer and PIV assembly until air is expelled from both components. Flick or tap PIV to facilitate air removal, and repeat as necessary. Close transducer port stopcock and remove 10 cc syringe. In the setup screen, touch Purge. Initiate a simultaneous contrast and saline purge by touching the Purge button. Flick the SPAT to MPAT saline connection point and waste port stopcock to remove air while purging is in progress. Repeat as needed until all air is removed. Carefully inspect the entire SPAT to verify that all air has been successfully purged from the fluid path before connecting to the patient. Next, zero the transducer according to the manufacturer's instructions. Verify that the waste port stopcock is closed to the waste port and open from the PIV to the patient. Then hold the PIV assembly with attached transducer parallel to the patient and level to the heart. Press the hemodynamic monitoring system zero transducer button. Verify 0 millimeters of mercury line has been established on the hemodynamic monitor. Finally, touch Complete, then touch OK. When using single-patient disposable AVA500 SPAT-Angio, which is not transducer compatible, perform the following steps. In the setup screen, touch Purge. Initiate a simultaneous contrast and saline purge by touching the Purge button. Flick the SPAT to MPAT saline connection point and waste port stopcock to remove air while purging is in progress. Repeat as needed until all air is removed. The final step of the installation for all SPATs is careful inspection of the entire SPAT to verify that all air has been successfully purged from the fluid path before connecting to the patient. Finally, touch Complete, then touch OK. To program the display control unit, verify that you are on the protocol screen. Confirm that you have selected a new case and that the contrast counter has reset to 0. Next, select your method of contrast delivery by touching Mode. You have the option of using either a variable flow or a fixed flow mode. The current mode is displayed next to the Mode button. Selecting Variable Contrast Flow Mode enables flexibility to vary flow rates at or below 10 milliliters per second while injecting. Set your parameters by touching any programmable block that appears under the Programmed column. When you touch any of these blocks, a numeric keypad and available range window will appear. You may enter the value, edit the value by touching the left arrows, or cancel to restore the original value. You can lock in a value by simply selecting another parameter or by touching Enter. To program a contrast flow rate in the variable mode, enter 1 to 10 milliliters per second in 0.1 milliliter increments on the touch screen. Next, program a volume from 1 to 150 milliliters. Then program a pressure limit from 300 to 1200 psi based on the catheter rating. During contrast delivery in variable flow mode, the injection is started with the initial depression of the hand controller. When depressing the hand controller, the flow increases in increments of 1/10 of the set flow rate. Depressing the hand controller halfway will deliver half of the flow rate, while full depression delivers the entire flow rate. When the hand controller is depressed, the flow rate will not exceed set parameters. Releasing the hand controller stops the flow. The injector remains armed for the next injection. Selecting Fixed Contrast Flow Mode enables contrast to be delivered at a fixed rate up to the set volume. To program a flow rate in the fixed mode, enter 1 to 45 milliliters per second in 1 milliliter increments. Next, program volume from 1 to 150 milliliters. Then program a pressure limit from 300 to 1200 psi based on the catheter rating. Finally, program a rate rise from 0.0 to 9.9 seconds to minimize catheter whip. In the fixed flow mode, the hand controller acts as a start switch. Simply depress to initiate a contrast injection. Release of the hand controller stops the flow immediately and disarms the injector. When arming in the variable flow mode, begin by verifying that air is purged from the disposables. Touch Arm in preparation for the injection. The injector will remain armed and ready for fluid delivery until you select Disarm. When arming for the first time, a system prompt asks for verification that air has been purged from the disposable set. The Check for Air icon will have a yellow background and highlight if the operator has confirmed no air. The armed indicator light on the injector head will illuminate when the injector is armed and will flash during an injection. Initiate the injection by depressing the hand controller until the desired opacification is achieved. The fluid delivery indicator flashes green when injecting contrast and flashes blue when injecting saline. The volume remaining syringe icon decreases during the injection. When the injection is complete, the injector will automatically rearm, an audible tone is generated, and the actual flow rate achieved, volume delivered, and PSI are displayed. Saline injections can be performed at a rate of 1.25 milliliters per second and are initiated at the hand controller by pressing the gray button. Saline can be injected at any time, except when contrast is flowing. Saline can also be delivered by activating an Automated Saline Flush, or ASF, function on the main protocol screen. This feature can be turned on or off via the configuration screen. ASF can be programmed to deliver saline during idle periods when contrast is not being injected. The duration of saline delivery can be programmed from 1 to 20 minutes in 1-minute increments, and the delivery rate from 0.1 to 20 milliliters per minute in 0.1 milliliter per minute increments. ASF is not available when the system is filling the syringe, armed for contrast injection, or when contrast is actively being delivered. The operator can stop ASF at any time by touching Stop on the screen or the hand controller saline button. Note: additional safety features are incorporated into the system. The injection will abort if there is contact on the touch screen in any area when injecting, the system detects a hazard condition, an overpressure condition exists, or if MPAT disposables are removed from the system. Once an injection is complete, you may save the protocol in the system memory for future use. When arming the injector in fixed flow mode, verify that air is purged from disposables and the injection parameters are correct. Performing a test injection is optional. A test injection delivers a limited amount of contrast, referred to as a puff, at a set flow rate and volume to verify catheter placement. Test injections are delivered at fixed flow only and programmed from the configuration screen. To perform a test injection, touch Test to arm the system. When arming for the first time, a system prompt asks for verification that air has been purged from the disposable set. Touch OK to confirm. The Check for Air icon will highlight with a yellow background, indicating the system is ready to inject. The armed indicator light on the injector head illuminates when the injector is armed and flashes during an injection. To initiate an injection, depress and hold the hand controller or foot switch. The fluid delivery indicator flashes green when injecting contrast and flashes blue when injecting saline. The volume remaining syringe icon decreases during the injection. When the injection is complete, the system disarms unless it was set to multi-arm previously. The end of the injection is indicated by an audible tone. The DCU will show the actual achieved flow rate, the delivered volume, and the maximum pressure generated during the injection. An injection protocol can be stored at any time in the system memory for future use. For additional safety, the system can be configured to issue an alert when armed for high flow rate and/or high volume injection via the configuration screen. A high flow rate occurs when the flow rate is greater than 10 milliliters per second in fixed flow mode only. The system beeps 5 times and the message Armed High Rate appears at the bottom of the screen. A high volume alert occurs when the volume is 20 milliliters or greater in either flow mode. The system beeps 5 times and the message Armed High Volume appears at the bottom of the screen. A convenient feature, autofill, automatically refills contrast when there is an inadequate volume in the syringe to complete the programmed protocol. Autofill can be initiated at any time by pressing the Fill button on the main protocol screen. You can select autofill volumes from 25 to 150 milliliters in 25 milliliter increments. To stop the autofill process, simply touch the Stop button or depress the hand controller plunger. The autofill option can be turned on or off via the configuration screen. You can also configure an autofill target as a multiple of programmed volume on the main protocol screen. For example, a 2 times multiplier on a 10 milliliter injection will refill when volume drops below 20 milliliters. Autofill occurs when the volume in the syringe falls below the user-configured threshold. If autofill is turned off, an insufficient volume message will appear when contrast volume in the syringe is depleted. A refill alert can be set to issue an audible indication when a preset volume of 25, 50, or 75 milliliters is remaining. When the refill alert is set and the syringe goes below the user-set threshold, an audible alert of 5 beeps will sound, and the syringe will blink 5 times. Manual fill can be initiated when the system is disarmed. Select Setup on the main screen and touch Fill Syringe. The DCU displays a graphical representation of the volume in the syringe. Then enter the desired Fill To volume and touch Fill. When the syringe has filled to the programmed amount, it will automatically stop. If you program an incorrect number when entering the volume, you can press the left arrows to clear the last number. Touch Cancel to exit the fill syringe screen. In either fill option, you can touch Stop or depress the hand controller at any time to stop the filling process. After each case, immediately remove the single-patient disposable set from the multi-patient disposable set by disengaging the multi-guard connectors. In order to minimize the chance of cross-contamination, do not allow the SPAT to fall below the table while still connected to the MPAT. To disconnect the saline tube, rotate the wing. To disconnect the contrast tube, rotate the wing and lure nut. Replace the sterile caps on the MPAT multi-guard connectors to maintain sterility for the next case. Once the S-Pad is removed, touch End. Verify the number of cases you have performed. If you have not yet completed 5 cases, you can start a new case by touching New. To start a new procedure, attach a new single-patient disposable set. To view the S-Pat setup, return to Install Single-Patient Disposable Set. The S-Pat must be exchanged for each patient. After 5 cases, remove the multi-patient disposable set. To replace the multi-patient disposable set, open the gross air detector doors and the peristaltic pump door. Remove the saline tubing and bag. Next, remove the multi-patient contrast tubing set. Release the drop front arm and remove the syringe. Simply turn the syringe 1/4 turn clockwise to remove it from the piston at any position while it is still attached to the MPAT disposable tubing. The disposables have been designed to minimize contrast spillage during removal. The Avanta Fluid Management Injection System allows you to store up to 40 frequently used protocols. On the protocol screen, enter the parameters under the programmed column. Touch Store. Enter a title of up to 20 characters, including spaces, and touch Enter. To recall a protocol, touch Recall. The stored protocols are displayed. Select the desired stored protocol, and the key parameters are then displayed. Touch OK to select the protocol for use, or cancel. If a protocol is recalled and changed on the main screen, an asterisk appears after the protocol name, indicating that it is no longer the stored protocol. To save the changed protocol, touch Store, type a new title, then touch Enter. The new protocol will be saved, as will the original protocol. To delete a protocol, touch Recall and select the desired protocol. Touch Delete and respond to the prompt. Touch Cancel to return to the main protocol screen. Additional features of the DCU include Configuration, Help, and Reset. The configuration icon allows the selection of configurable options and preferences. These include ISI, Autofill, Autofill Volume, Autofill Target, Refill Alert, Test Inject Rate, Test Inject Volume, Rate Volume Alert, Foot Switch, Language, Automated Saline Flush, or ASF, Audio Feedback, Audio Level, Max Cases per MPAT, Syringe Backlight, Date, Time, and Calibration Reminder. Touch the appropriate button for more information. Help includes the safety information, screen functions, programming, service information, and customer service. Reset is used to return programmed parameters to factory default settings. To clean the Avanta Fluid Management Injection System, disconnect it from the power source. Clean the system components using only a soft, non-abrasive cloth dampened with mild cleansing agents or water. Never use abrasives or harsh chemicals. Avoid spraying cleansers directly on the components, particularly the touchscreen. When cleaning the FCM, ensure that the backlighting on the drip sensor chambers, the gross air detectors, the CFCV, and the peristaltic pump are free of contrast buildup to ensure proper operation. In the event of contact with body fluids, spills, or contamination, follow your institution's decontamination processes. For detailed cleaning instructions, refer to the operation manual. When properly operated and maintained, the Avanta Fluid Management Injection System provides safe, reliable service. Training is provided by MedRad interventional representatives who specialize in cardiovascular clinical applications. Knowledgeable service support is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Service contracts to fit your needs are available by calling 1-800-MEDRAD-S. Call us at 1-800-MEDRAD1 for more information. If you have other questions about the operation of your Medrad Avanta, please consult the operation manual or contact your local Medrad interventional representative. Or visit us on the internet at www.medrad.com. Medrad. Performance for life.